The sun crept over Hawthorne Ranch, spilling gold across the vast sleeping fields. For Emily, this was the start of her second week on the job, and this sprawling land, with its wide-open sky and scent of hay, was slowly but surely starting to feel like home. She was humming softly in the kitchen, a pan sizzling on the stove, when the cowboys started wandering in for breakfast, their boots thudding softly on the wooden floor. Jake, a cowboy with a mischievous glint in his eye, leaned against the doorframe with a wide grin. "If you keep feeding us like this, Miss Emily," he drawled, "we'll get too comfortable to get any work done." Emily turned, a playful smile on her lips. "Well then, maybe I'm just doing my job a little too well." Laughter filled the warm kitchen, but as her eyes scanned the familiar faces, Emily felt a small pang of disappointment. She glanced toward the empty doorway one more time. The one man she'd half expected, half hoped to see, wasn't at the table. Ethan Hawthorne, the quiet cowboy with kind eyes and a reserved smile, had a habit of disappearing at dawn. A ghost in the morning mist, outside by the stables. The air was cool and crisp. Ethan was alone, his movements practiced, and sure as he tightened the saddle on his horse. A younger ranch hand, barely out of his teens, approached him hesitantly. "Boss, you sure you don't want anyone riding out with you today?" the kid asked, his respect for Ethan clear in his tone. Ethan didn't look up from his task, his voice firm, but not unkind. "I told you, don't call me that when others are around. And no, I'll be fine." He swung himself into the saddle and rode out, a solitary figure against the rising sun. No one knew the truth. To the ranch hands, Ethan was just one of them. A hard-working cowboy who knew the land better than anyone. Only a handful of old-timers, men who had worked here for decades, knew that he owned every single acre of this ranch. The weight of its legacy, the pressure to keep it all afloat, sat heavy on his shoulders, a burden he carried in silence. By midday, the sun was high and hot. Emily, having noticed Ethan's absence at breakfast and lunch, packed a basket with a sandwich and a cold drink. She found him near the far barn, his shirt damp with sweat, as he repaired a broken fence post. "Ethan!" she called out, her voice carrying on the breeze. "You missed breakfast again. I figured I'd come check you were still alive out here." He turned, wiping his brow with the back of his hand. A faint, tired smile touched his lips. "I didn't mean to worry the cook." Emily smiled back, walking closer. "Well, the cook worries about anyone who skips her pancakes. They're kind of a big deal." She held out the sandwich. He reached for it, and for a fleeting moment, their fingers brushed. It was a small, almost insignificant touch, but it sent a jolt, a spark of unexpected warmth right through her. Neither of them said a word, but in that shared silence, both felt something they couldn't quite name. A current passing between them, they found a spot in the shade of a large oak tree, the kind that had probably stood for 100 years, and ate quietly for a moment. The only sounds were the buzz of insects and the distant lowing of cattle. "So," Emily began, breaking the comfortable silence, "how long have you worked here?" Ethan hesitated, his gaze drifting toward the horizon. "A while," he said, his voice low. "This ranch, it's been in my life for as long as I can remember." Emily sighed softly, tracing a pattern on the dusty ground. "Must be nice, having roots somewhere. I feel like I've been running from one place to another my whole life." Ethan looked at her then, his eyes holding a depth that seemed to see right through her. "Maybe you just haven't found a reason to stay yet." The way he said it, so calm, so certain, made her heart flutter. She met his gaze, feeling a pull she hadn't felt before. "Maybe I haven't," she whispered, the words hanging in the air between them. That evening, the ranch settled into a peaceful quiet. Lanterns cast a warm golden glow across the yard as Emily cleaned the now empty kitchen. Wiping down the drawers, her fingers brushed against a piece of paper tucked away in the back of one. Curious, she pulled it out. It was an old yellowed newspaper clipping. The headline was stark. Ethan Hawthorne, Ranch, Air Faces, Family Loss. A younger Ethan stared back at her from the grainy photo, his eyes filled with a sorrow that looked all too familiar. Emily's breath caught in her throat. She whispered his name, the full name, the one from the headline, Ethan Hawthorne, and in that stunning, heart-stopping moment, everything clicked into place. The quiet cowboy she was starting to fall for, the man who disappeared at dawn and carried a hidden sadness in his eyes, was the man who owned it all. The question wasn't who he was anymore. The real question, the one that echoed in her mind, was why. Why hadn't he told her? She stepped outside, leaving the warmth of the kitchen behind. The cool night air wrapped around her as she stared out at the dark horizon, at the vast expanse of land that belonged to him. Emily had come to Hawthorne Ranch to start over, to find a place where she could finally plant her own roots. But she never could have imagined that the man she was falling for was hiding a world of secrets behind every gentle smile. What happens when the truth comes out? Will it bring them closer or tear them apart? Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next chapter of this story. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here at the ranch very soon.